Hey everyone, this is Luke again, and welcome back to yet another Ninjago video onto the channel today. So, I mentioned that I was going to be making a video in a certain comment, and this is going to be a very controversial one, but to be fair, I am the king of controversial Ninjago opinions, so this isn't out of the ordinary for someone like me. And as you can see from the title and the thumbnail, yes, I'm one of the 5 people out in the world that doesn't like this particular storyline of Ninjago. It's been highly regarded by a lot of Ninjago fans as one of the greatest stories Ninjago has ever told. While I'm the complete opposite. I think it is actually one of the worst stories Ninjago has ever told. And let me explain it. Now, obviously, if you didn't get the gist from the title and the thumbnail, of course I'm talking about the Lloyd and Harumi plot from Season 8 and seemingly still continuing on to this day. Which is a perfect segue into my first issue with the storyline. The writers do not know when to let this storyline die. Like, let it die. It's like what's that song? It's like that song by Guns N' Roses, "Live and Let Die." If you listen to Guns N' Roses, you know. But basically, they need to know when to properly end the storyline so that it doesn't get stagnant. That's the right word. So that it just doesn't feel stale, and that's what I'm worried about. They had the proper chance to end it at season 9, and then for some reason they tried to keep reintroducing it back into the Wild Brain era, which I never understood why they went with this decision. Because there was no need to. The storyline is in the past, and like Ninjago has said it before, the past is the past, the future is the future. Why are we still stuck in the past? Why are we still looking at this storyline when there's no need to? It's just bonkers to me how the writers, for some reason, allowed this. Because if I was at the writing team, I would have been one of the people that wanted it shut down immediately. Of course, I'd probably get dominated by majority opinion, but I'm one of those people who thinks that this storyline does not need to continue. It should never continue until 11. It should have ended at season 9. And I'm worried about it potentially dominating the second half of Crystallize. Because I know I haven't seen episodes 13 and 14 because there is an English version for episode 13, but the audio is awful. That's why I didn't watch it. So I'm waiting until we can get good audio with a good video so I can watch it normally. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. The writers I just wish they would stop relying on this storyline just to have some sort of relevance in it. And this goes back to a previous video of mine where I basically stated some of my concerns with Crystallize, and I'm worried. And one of those was I was worried that Crystallize was going to rely solely on fan service. This is one of the examples of fan service because I know how many people love this storyline. So of course they're like, let's bring it back just to make them happy. The story comes first. I don't care about fan service. I really don't care about it. Story comes first. And in my eyes, this storyline has no reason to exist post season 9. It has no reason to exist. And it's only done to provide some sort of relevancy and just to appease certain fans. Similarly to my complaints about the season 6 ending, it's reconnecting Jay and Nia together instead of breaking them apart. It's the same criticism. Now, let's go back to season 8 and talk about the actual storyline itself and not the after effects of it. A big reason I'm not a fan of the storyline is really down to who is in it. First of all, Lloyd's storylines to me have been let's just say, recycled as of late. It's kind of obvious that the writers tend to recycle a lot of things. And in a way, it's kind of like cutting corners. It's like doing it the same thing, but in a much faster way, but less original. What I'm saying is that I feel like there could have been another unique storyline for Lloyd, but instead they just went with a very familiar path. Now you may be wondering what the hell I'm saying, because obviously season 8 was the debut of this storyline, so at the time, yes, it was new. And I kind of think that that was more of an after effect, sorry. I kind of got confused in my mindset there. But anyways, this storyline to me is not great. It's not great at all. Because Lloyd to me has not been an interesting character. And if you know me, you know how much I don't like Lloyd in Season 8. Because I feel like they pretty much made him stupidly bad on purpose just to elevate him again, which I think is something no writer should ever do. They should never devalue one character's worth just to build them back up again to make it seem like a sort of rags to riches story. They shouldn't do that. I can understand why they did it, to sort of add some variety, but you have to remember, sometimes variety doesn't always work. Sometimes it's better to just leave things untouched than to try and change them up for the sole purpose of adding something new. Some things don't need to be changed. And I do believe that Lloyd's character direction from season 7 onwards did not need to be changed, because it was fine as it is. Was it a little bit stale at times? Sure, but every character is going to go through those sorts of periods, so it's not like it was going to be a big deal. Plus, this is more of a personal criticism of mine. I don't really get romance. I don't really get it at all. Romance storylines to me are like so weird, because it's like I don't know whether to hate them or like them, because I've never been in an actual relationship before. You'd think someone at my age has been in multiple relationships, and no, I don't count online relationships, because those are not real relationships. Unless you've met them in real life, of course. But they don't count. So I've never really been in a real relationship with someone that I would personally call like my girlfriend or something like that. And so I didn't understand the dynamic of the storyline. So therefore, I didn't really understand what they were trying to do with it. So I was just confused from the get-go, basically. But also, the character of Harumi, to me, was very boring. Like, up until her reveal as the Quiet One, she was practically a static character. Now, if you don't know what a static character means in literary terms, it means a character that doesn't really change all that much throughout the course of a story. And to me, she doesn't really change all that much. Now, you could argue that that was the whole point, because it was for the sake of the plot twist of her being the Quiet One. But I do believe that maybe her backstory should have been introduced earlier instead of when it was actually introduced. Or something to at least give me a reason to like her. Because I just felt that Season 8 as a whole had their priorities way wrong. It's like they were prioritizing one story at one moment, and then another at the next, and then another one in the next episode. It's like, it was completely bonkers. It was overwhelming to me. And some of them didn't even make it. One of those storylines, the Zayn and Mr. E one, didn't even make it because of some stupid bullshit. But I'm getting off track here. To me, Harumi did not get interesting until she became the Quiet One. And that interest only piqued me for a couple of episodes, and that was until Garmadon came back, which I don't believe was necessary either, and then she just pretty much got shafted to the sidelines again. So she had like this brief period of me somewhat being interested in the character, and then just me being bored with her again. they just don't give her enough screen time, in my personal opinion, to let her truly shine. So therefore, you have a main character whose character direction I did not appreciate at all, plus another character who I found boring up until her reveal, and you pretty much got to set it up for disaster. If I don't care for those characters, why should I care for what dynamic or what storyline they're trying to do? Why should I care? It doesn't give me a reason to care. And sorry if I'm getting a little bit worked up. So this kind of might have turned into a rant video. But this storyline to me I don't know how to phrase this. It's like part of me thinks it could have been improved with some priority changes and maybe not the self-destruction of Lloyd's character. But I also think maybe it would have been for the best had it not happened. Because, like I said before, it seems the writers are solely relying on this storyline. And just for the sake of relevancy and not for the sake of, oh, we're going to continue this storyline because it actually makes sense. No, we're going to continue it because it's relevant or something like that, which I think is a stupid excuse. And no, I am not hating on the writers of the show. I truly believe they are incredible people who work on the show, and I just think that they need to look on some mistakes, and I think that they definitely need to fix some of those mistakes. Now, obviously, they may not see what I say as mistakes. They might see it as just pointless criticism or criticism that makes no sense to them. But to me, this criticism makes complete sense in my eyes because, in my opinion, Sons of Garmadon and this whole storyline could have worked, but I just believe they went about it the wrong way. And also, they didn't have the priorities straight, but that's another video. That's for another video for another time. So, yeah, that's basically the whole big reasons why I don't really like the Lloyd and Harumi's storyline. And this is a pointless question to ask at the end of the video, but do you agree with me or not? I'm expecting so many no comments. I'm expecting it. But if I see a yes comment, I'm going to be truly shocked, because I know that a lot of people adore this storyline, saying it's one of the best, but I have to disagree with that, because I see so many flaws with this one storyline, and it just doesn't click with me. It doesn't click with me. If it clicks for you, good. If it doesn't, that's also good. It's just, for me, it doesn't click at all. It doesn't make me interested. It focuses on characters who I could care less about, and the overall story itself doesn't really make a lot of sense. Plus, they're dragging this storyline on further than it should. It should have died back in season 9. And honestly, I'm just worried about what they're going to do with it in Crystallized, because I know that it's going to be of huge importance in a couple of episodes down the line. But anyways, hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to your channel, click on the red subscribe button, and click on the notification bell to receive every video that I will upload. And I'll see you folks in the next video. Bye bye!